This is Margaret Ann Windsor, and this has been an ongoing thing. I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace, brought to the United States in 41, and I found out about my real name in 83 during a political campaign where I ran for U.S. Congress to replace Larry McDonald. So I'm not going to get into all the videos that I've made giving background, and I'm on Facebook. I will say that when I came here, I had written about mind control murders back in 77, 78, and I linked it to some murders at Larry McDonald's hospital. Well, his family either owned it or really ran it back then. And the murders of forensics pathologist Warren and Rosina Matthews. Now then, so much happened to me during that time, but then I was just literally dumped on the side of the road. I had antifreeze put in me April the 1st of 80 after getting a letter from the FBI, and I thought it was because of the book. And then I found out later my name and why in my kidnapping and all that, why all this has really happened. My point now is since I came here in 86, I have a immune disorder. If I'm around certain chemicals, you inhale chemicals, I inhale it. You have to breathe, especially if you've been force-fed them in a room that you're living in. If it's your environment like the house or home or room you're living in, you're in trouble. It's fixed or you have to leave. Now then, the FBI issued me a letter in 1979. I was trying to get the book published, and a lot was happening to me. And it was June of 79, and I got a letter back from the U.S. Attorney, which I put all this on tapes, videos, and everything. The media knows it, but the Rockefeller, the very people that kidnapped me, the New World Order controlled. They're not going to print it. So I'm going to skip back to, I put on here, it looks as though I'm allowed to go anywhere and I don't have that much money. My money's controlled, like of or have. So I'm going to just go to this one because there's a list of where I've lived. I've put it on there in prior tapes enough to prove to anybody. I can't get an attorney what's being done to me. But this is August, and I had the papers and put this on, where Gene Croft, the manager, even signed it. I was up on Roanoke Mountain and legally camped, and the hosts up there then, August of '09, were retired Virginia State Trooper Carl Barton and his wife. Well, the middle of the night, I had antifreeze. Not antifreeze, excuse me. I'm upset right now because of what's being done to me now, blatantly. Well, it always has been, just nobody cared. I didn't have access to YouTube or an attorney or anything. So they brought me down to, I had fuel put on the Sierra tent during the night, had to sleep out that night. And next day, they looked like they were doing me a favor, the Bartons, and they brought me down to affordable corporate suite. Jean Croft is the manager. She still is. By the way, all these people still have their jobs. They're not locked up. They did what the cops told them to do. The FBI tell the cops what to do, and the cops tell them what to do. And everybody has something to hide. So you can go from there on what's going on. They are the people that have engaged in this, whether it's the management, the owners of the companies, you name it. Their kids, if that, I personally know that kids have been accused of committing crimes, and in return for their parents, etc., to do things damaging me, that the charges would be dropped against their kids or them. So now I want to go to this. Affordable, I went in there, and it looked like they're doing me a favor. Linda Barton, the retired Virginia State Trooper's wife, brought me down. And I had money on me enough to go somewhere else. But she brought me kind of insisted and brought me to Affordable, and she paid the security deposit with a credit card, so it's easy enough to check out. Before she left, though, she said to me, she said, "This is how we move you, by using chemicals." Well, I had tried to tell people, nobody wants to hear it, and it's not that they don't believe it. The problem is they do. I've had all kinds of documents and stuff on me that prove it if they didn't and they cared to hear it. They're afraid it's going to happen to them. So she told me that, and I already knew it. And she says, "We're Americans. We're above the law." Well, I'm 75 years old. I can hardly walk. I've been flooded with chemicals, let me put it that way, that I couldn't get away from rather than leaving. So what happens to me if I stayed like I did at Affordable Corporate Suites for 17 months and sucked it up? You got maintenance. You got Jean Croft that knew it. And she even wrote me letters that, stated I paid my rent on time, et cetera, that I was forced to leave. I'd sucked up the chemicals. Of course, you don't see this. She said I left because they raised the rent, which that was partly true because I couldn't afford it. But then I've had to stay at their other Affordable Suites here and other places, and I've got the documents from there, which would prove to anybody, especially if you got these people up in court and took a deposition, and they would be lying or telling the truth, and you got too much. If I had an attorney that would, you couldn't deny it. They should be locked up for assault and battery, conspiracy, everything. Now then, I'm going to go, and so that I don't lose you on this, but I've been told I had to come back to this corporate suite because I'd lived somewhere for 14 months, and suddenly they had owners and were renovating the whole thing, and that's another fiasco that everybody watched and saw. They were afraid for their jobs, that they'd lose them if they helped me. So I've been told to leave here. I came back here the 3rd of April. I'm 75. I can't walk from the damage done to my lungs, my body, from being soaked in chemicals deliberately put in where I've lived. Now then, I'm told to leave suddenly with no place to go, and I'm going to lose what I have. And they're saying that because of the allergen that I have to chemicals, immune disorder, that they can't allow me to get non-allergenic. And I've offered to buy that. There are supplies, plenty they could use in here cleaning, since they demand to come in and clean, that would not hurt me. But this is deliberate, cold-blooded, deliberate, and it's been a joke. Now that I've asked for a letter, because instead of 2-day notice they were going to give me, I literally begged. Wherever I go, it's going to happen unless it's stopped. So I've asked for a letter, but you know what they're doing? They're not saying anything about the past. Oh, she did say I had a history of allergy in the past. Well, excuse me. They're going to leave out that the allergy would have been okay and I could have lived there had they not deliberately soaked me. And ask yourself why they did. Because the owner of it is, as far as I know, Lance Cooperman. I've met him, Jewish. And not just that he's Jewish. Half of them that engaged in this were born here, and they're Caucasian, American, some Irish, you name it. So now then, I've got to leave this Thursday and dump my things, what I put together again, out in the dumpster and find a way to leave. And I'm 75 years old and can hardly walk. And it's like this joke that they can do. And by the way, the housekeeper, when she came in this past Wednesday, I wish somebody had a video of what happened in here. This is the housekeeper. I hope it's over. I'm going to have to leave, which I would have had to anyway. They forced me to leave with chemicals. I'm so sick right now, and I developed